Till up to grade 9, I think I was labeled as a duffer. But something just changed during the summer break between grade 9 and 10. I mean, by the time grade 10 started, I had done with my syllabus for ISSE board exams almost 10 months before the board exam. So I was wondering always, why does a child spend a year and fearing about the board exams if I could study the entire thing in just 2 months' time and without being an academically brilliant child?
Was there any defining moment that you realized that the traditional learning needed a disruption?
Little knowing that this particular one interaction is going to change and transform the way I look at education. So one of the kids in that class asked me a very pointed question.
So you're literally questioning the norm, actually.
No, I'm not. I mean, because I think it's just that the age, I think that was required. I think we were all grown in that environment.
Right.
But that age, that era was very different from what we are living today. I mean, today, success is not out of bounds for common man. Any child who does not have access to any financial resources or economic assets can also be greatly successful. We've already seen this in the startup world. Trust me, the kids in the school are more stressed than you and me are stressed. Look at the schedule, right? They have to wake up at early morning, 6 o'clock, catch the bus, reach the school, come back home by 4 o'clock. Then they'll get about 1 hour scheduled playtime with the friends. And after that, they have to take tuition classes, complete the assignment. Then over the dinner, they get about 15, 20 minutes to speak to the parents or friends and family, and they're going to the bed. I mean, I don't think even I'm putting that kind of an effort. We pick the best teachers in the country. Salaries that we offer to the teachers is very high, significantly at least about 25% higher than the physical school would offer. A grade 1 child is able to log into a class with just 3 clicks and manage his own classes and schedule. I think in the long run, parents would start seeing schools as social spaces, but for learning outcomes, they will have to look at online schools like 21. Which I think what I call it as a romance of school. Parents want to see kids in the uniform.
Right.
They want to wave off the kids at the bus stop, at the pickup. They want to go and attend the annual day and sports day. I think every child maintains his own portfolio. So we have like Shark Tank as an event where there are serious business proposals that comes in, and kids have also raised money out of the Shark Tank.
Not just of 21K, but a story of hope. A story of that every child in India or the world deserves freedom and deserves learning, irrespective of where they stay, and learn without limit.
Learners discover their true self and know that schooling does not define you in terms of your success or in terms of your career. So it's important that every child spends their time in a meaningful way and every child can get access to great quality education.
Yashwan, thank you so much for joining us today. It is a privilege to have somebody who has spent decades in shaping the future of education. And we are very excited to unpack the story of 21K. More importantly, how the democratizing the learning goes actually.
Thank you so much, Kavita, for having me on this podcast.
Thank you. So let's start at the very beginning. Just wanted to understand what inspired you to start 21K. And secondly, was there any defining moment that you realized that the traditional learning needed a disruption?
I think there are two personal stories which actually one which led me into the education space. In my school days, I was educated at the Bangalore-based Baldwin Boys High School. Till up to grade 9, I think I was labeled as a duffer. Literally somebody who was not good in academics and was looked down upon in terms of his future and aspirations, right? But something just changed during the summer break between grade 9 and 10, where I had the privilege of undergoing tuition with Professor Devdas, who was also the vice principal of the school, and he transformed the entire thing. And that's where I think I didn't had a word then, but I know it was about personalization and flexibility, right? I mean, by the time grade 10 started, I had done with my syllabus for ISSE board exams almost 10 months before the board exams. So the entire academic year was just about revision. So I was wondering always, why does the child spend a year and fearing about the board exams if I could study the entire thing in just 2 months time and without being an academically brilliant child? Think that made me actually get into the education stream to help other learners discover their true self and know that schooling does not define you in terms of your success or in terms of your career. It's a good pathway, it's a milestone, but it does not define you. Later on, when I started building physical schools, wanting to change the education space, I had set up one school in Kawardha in Chhattisgarh. It's a remote location in Kawardha. It's just a district headquarter with about 50, 60,000 population then. And it was a beautiful school that I was very proud of having set up, great teachers and fantastic. I walked in to the campus on one of my regular academic visits, and I realized that the principal was struggling to find a teacher. So I said, I volunteered. I would love to speak to the kids. It was a grade six class. And I said, okay, let me walk in and spend some time. It will take care of your substitution needs also. Little knowing that this particular one interaction is going to change and transform the way I look at education. So one of the kids in that class asked me a very pointed question. So, what is my crime that I'm born in Kavardha? Why can't I get the same education my nephew gets in Pune? I said, okay, okay. I'm here all thinking that, I'm helping the people in Kawardha by setting up a beautiful school. But the kids clearly see a gap in terms of how learning happens. Fortunately, I think immediately after this incident, I had traveled to USA. When I discovered about the online school concept and how technology is being leveraged to improve learning outcomes, to break the barriers of access to education. And that's where I started building the online school. So this was February 2026. So it took almost 4 or 5 years before I actually launched with the online school, just to ensure that people who do not have access to quality education, they get access. And second key objective is that those who have access are still perturbed with the learning outcomes, and it's not helping the kids in any moment. So we wanted to leverage technology to ensure that the learning outcomes are delivered to the kid who's spending 16 years of their life in a school.
Absolutely, very thought provoking, in fact. Just wanted to understand, so does the child today in Kawardha, is you going to 21K school?
A quite of them. I think so. We have students from Dantewada, which is an Naxalite affected area.
Right.
So if you look at the students reach today, we have students from 600 different cities across India, which
Very
shows that
interesting.
it's grown beyond the normal 10 to 12 popular cities.
Right.
People from remote cities locations are accessing. We have students enrolling us from Afghanistan, from Sudan, from Yemen. Couple of countries where access to basic school education is disrupted because
Right.
of its the regional conflicts and the political situation in these countries. So it is definitely making a difference in terms of access to the education.
That's a very, very interesting thought, actually. And yeah, definitely, it makes very huge difference actually to the children in the schools and coming up. So now it is very interesting to know that how the online school started.
Right.
So and staying with that early phase, Yashwan, what were the biggest personal or professional challenges you faced while building something so unconventional?
Oh, I think, why it took 4 years for me to start with the online school is because I don't come from a tech background. So I
Okay,
think I
right.
understood education, I understand the business management and operational part of it, but I needed somebody who could deliver on the technology part, right? Because it's going to be leveraging technology is not as simple as just building an LMS or
Right.
setting up a Zoom network. I think I was very clear that we wanted to build up a company which was understands the educational technology aspects of the online schooling. And we are very different structured as an online schools. We are not at all similar in multiple ways compared to any other online school in the world today, right? I mean, we are 100% fully online, synchronous classes with live teaching, where the recording is available. We are the only online school which provides learning kit to its learners across the grades, across the wherever the world's home assignments, structured timetable, 24 class size of students. I think everything was so different. But so initially, I think we were confused in terms of whether we are a tech company or an education company.
Right. Yeah.
But I think now, after 5 years of spending the grind, meeting with thousands of parents and learners, we're very clear that we are a transformative learning organization where our job and our mission is essentially to help every child, wherever they are, whatever they are doing, for them to succeed in life, whether it could be through education, through capstone programs, through mastery pathways, skill based programs, or just certification at the senior grade levels. We want to see that how can 21K school help every child succeed in life.
Very interesting. So, from those early struggles, let's move to the scale you've built today. Actually, 21K has learners from 78 plus countries. How do you ensure an inclusive, high quality learning experience across cultures and time zones?
Yeah, I think that's a very critical question.
Very.
I mean, thanks for asking that. Uh, See, what when we started looking at the scale of 21K school, we realized there are certain things which is common across the parents and the learners' expectations. I think so. We're trying to deliver high quality education to every learner, every family who is expecting high quality of education when it comes to the essential curriculum delivery, which has to be skill based, not rote based learning, which has to be experiential and engaging, not something which drowns the child in terms of a heap of assignments and rote learning and assessments and test and preparation, right? So I think those commonalities exist across geographies and
Right.
economies, right? I mean, that's what we're trying to leverage. So we're trying to cater to any parent and any family who's expecting English medium school, high
Mm-hmm.
quality instruction and high level of engagement. I think these commonalities makes us, super critical in terms of ensuring that the education across the geographies is seamless. And in fact, having different backgrounds and experience of the students enriches the entire conversation to an extent. The children are learning so much more, by just speaking about different expectations, culture. I know from my child's class, the student from Japan thinks so differently from a child in Oman.
I'm sure.
I mean, the way
Uh-huh.
he's absorbing content, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just about understanding what is waterfall or any, the
Right.
concepts, right?
Right.
But the nuances of the human interaction, the cultural differences, the way to approach a problem,
Mm-hmm.
I think is so much more different. And imagine kids getting exposed to that right in the school without trying to do an international MBA program.
Absolutely, and especially a child living in the tier two or even in the deep remote village of India, and
Absolutely. Yeah,
engaging it with somebody who is in Japan or any other part of the world will be truly a global learning experience.
absolutely.
And once you had a global, now coming back to my next question, once you had a global footprint, the next hurdle was sustainability, right?
Mhm.
So running a global online school is always complex. So what was the hardest part of building a scalable and sustainable model?
Well, I think we've had challenges. It would be wrong for me to say that we've not had ups and downs. I think we had a period where we were staring at the end of the road. I mean, thanks to the investors who are on board for the support and belief in the mission that we're trying to solve, we could able to come out of this. And also, we realized that this is something that we're building for long term.
Right.
It can't be seen just like a regular startup which is trying to scale and build revenue at any cost. It can't. I mean, I would be the first person to quit
Right.
this if we compromise quality, if we are trying to leverage scale at the cost of the quality of education for the
Mm-hmm.
children, right? So we took a lot of time to ensure our process, practices, our protocols are absolutely defined, structured, the culture is well built. Today, we are at in a stage where even if I grow 10x time, I'm very confident that the quality is not going to be
Wow.
compromised. I think this was not the case about 2 years back, where we had to scale to a large number of students and we had to even downsize team efforts, quality of the program, the companies and approach because we said we not let the education quality suffer because we want to make more money out of it.
And how easy or tough it must was it to convince the especially the angel investors and investors, because they look more from the profit perspective, and here you have another mission altogether.
See, fortunately, I think we've been very careful in selecting the investors who will come on the board. We have investors who understand that we need patient capital. It's not a growth money or growth capital or seed fund that will bloom into massive returns at the company. And Ronnie Screwvala, who's our investor, I think he understands education better. He understands the dynamics of the business, and he also understands a mission, saying that we are here for long haul. It's not something that we want to thrive and flourish and then just leave the space. I think absolutely that's not the mindset. So I think there's a clear alignment in far as the vision and values are concerned, and I think that's what has been helping us.
That's nice. So at least there is an alignment in terms of the thought
Right.
process. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with scale comes curiosity, right? Especially from parents. Now, many people wonder, and especially the parents, they wonder that without any physical campus, shouldn't the fee be a little much more cheaper for an online school? So how do you respond or address to that perception?
It should be. See, the homeschooling education does not come at a cost at all, right?
Right.
I mean, So today, instead of a physical infrastructure cost, I have a tech infrastructure cost. I mean,
Right.
the amount of money that we pay for the LMS, Zoom license, or for the storage cost, I think is substantially much higher or comparable to the normal lease rent a school would pay
Mm-hmm.
for the building and capacity. So the cost-wise, I don't think, I mean, it's comparable in terms of things. It's just the line items or the revenue heads is very different. In
Right.
terms of the cost that we incur, could be very different from the cost that a physical school incurs. I mean, jokingly I say that हमारा खर्चा तो कम होना चाहिए because teachers को हम लोग चाय कॉफी भी नहीं पिलाते हैं.
Right.
So I think it's that true.
Yeah.
But but if you look at it, in terms of the objective of the quality, that is not being compromised. For example, I don't have a single classroom which has more than 24 to 25 students in the classroom, right?
Right.
So I can't fill the class with 30 or 40 learners. So if you do the math, I think, for 48 students, I need two teachers, where most schools today would probably manage with one or probably 1.5 teachers in a space, right? That's even CBSE says, there should be one teacher for every 40 child, right? So my student teacher ratio is quite high. Then we pick the best teachers in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Salaries that we offer to the teachers is very high, significantly at least about 25% higher than the physical school would
Mm-hmm.
offer.
And why is it so? Because I'm just curious to know.
Uh,
Because they're working from comfort of their own homes. If
No,
you
but the best minds would not come and work cheaply, right?
right.
So I think we want to get the best teachers, and
Mm-hmm.
these are the best teachers who've been teaching at international standards or very progressive schools, where the fee structure is anyway much higher than what we charge, and we're trying to get that passion into the school more than the skill sets itself. So I think that defines the classroom engagement, the relationship between the facilitator and the learner inside the classroom, and that is what is making the difference entirely in terms of the learning. So the cost is there. I think we have still not hugely profitable. We are investing every money that we earn back into the system in terms of developing additional curriculum, better tech stack,
Mm-hmm.
better engagement, better data-driven dashboards for the parents and the learners. Something which is probably is very, very different from what a typical physical school would be able to do.
That's interesting. So just going back, you said you have not even not even done a break even, so to speak, as of
No,
now.
we've just broken even this year in
Okay.
March after 5 years of struggle. So we still
Mm.
have to, recover the all of losses that we have incurred. I mean, so I think going forward, we are very conscious of the fact that we want to give every teacher who's been working with us a great lifestyle, a great experience, and because in return for the commitment to help
Right.
every child succeed, right? And it can't come if I just follow the normal pay scales which companies are being offered, right? So I want to ensure that the every teacher, every employee who's working at 21K gets great increment, is become parts of the ownership circle through the ESOP pool that we have created for every one of them, and make sure that they travel, stay, and deliver the classes at the comfort without being worried about their own financial insecurities.
So, can you elaborate how is the as you mentioned about how the teacher framework works, and how 21K works for the teachers as compared to a traditional school in terms of what are the what drives them to be a 21K school in as compared to a traditional school?
So, a
What would be
couple of things which
Mhm.
the teachers have told us is
Right?
that, one, the circle of impact is much, much higher.
Mm-hmm.
So, traditionally, a school, let's say in Bangalore, would probably be impacting learners in the city, or if it's a
Right.
residential school, then it's a different thing, right? But today, my teacher is impacting learners from different cities, different geographies, and different countries.
Mm-hmm.
So, the sense of satisfaction which a facilitator gets in terms of delivering and seeing those learners is very different. Second, uh, teaching at 21K school is also very challenging because the kind of students that we've been able to attract to the online schooling platform, these are independent learners.
Right.
They're ahead of the learning curve compared to their peers in the other schools. So the questions and the things that are being asked to the facilitator is not easy. So to be a teacher at 21K school is a very hard, difficult task. You'll have
Mm-hmm.
to swallow your ego. You can't be the headmaster or the teacher standing on the stage and delivering the lecture. You'll have to work with the kids. So it's not going to be easy at all, right? And that challenge element is what drives the every facilitator also to give the best. Second is we leverage a lot of technology to remove the monotony of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
example, yeah, we also have our weekly assessments, but those weekly assessments are done and the results are out within minutes.
Okay.
where the
Okay.
teacher can take immediate corrective action in terms of remediation or enrichment then and there, compared to an other school which is not very tech enabled. It will take about a week for the teacher to manually correct, total
Right.
up, tabulate those answers, give the answers to it, and then make sense of the entire data over a period of time to be
Right.
able to actually do the remediation and enrichment for that child. Now this changes completely at 21K school, because before I start unit 2, I know how many students have not understood unit 1. And it's so much more easy for the child, because if he has doubts, if he's still hesitant about the concepts that's been
Right.
built over the previous chapters, he can get it sorted through the remediation then and there, before, instead of being labeled as a duffer at the end of the year saying that तुमको कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आया.
नहीं आया. Okay. So definitely it is like more than the financial gains, actually even the satisfaction is way
The
too high.
satisfaction is way
Is
too
way
high.
too high. Behind the scenes, a strong layer of technology is making all this possible, right? Now, how does 21K use AI or data personalization to improve learning outcomes and across ages and curricula?
I think AI is an important topic of discussion, and we've been using machine learning to drive personalization at 21K school. We have a personalized learning engine, which ensures that every child is being addressed through remediation and enrichment classes through the layer of technology. So while the classroom interaction is still human driven with the teacher and the 24 students in the classroom,
Right.
but it changes the moment we see the outcome of that data driven outcome of our assessments, right? Where I can say that, okay, this child has not understood a particular concept in a particular subject,
Right.
which is very different from me generally saying that this class has not understood the concept. So, I mean, I have multiple cases where in the same class and same grade and same section, the child is struggling with English concept, which is probably taught at grade 2, or maybe the other child is brilliant with maths but still struggling in understanding the science, right? So I mean, to make the difference to every child, the data driven dashboard, which is again AI based, helps every teacher to understand that what is required and what is missing. Through machine learning, we are able to create a different learning pathway for every child, where the child, even if it's in grade 4 or grade 5, he can solve concepts related to grade 6 or grade 2 or grade 3. So the breadth of the assignments, home assignments, with the child can do changes how the every child is learning and focusing in terms of their own growth and their own learning outcomes. I think that's been defining moment. We are very mindful of the fact that we don't leverage AI the way normally people know, in terms of ChatGPT or Gemini. It's not used in our classrooms at all. Kids are learning about AI tools, but at senior grade classes, not at the junior. I think we have been very cognizant of the fact that we don't want kids to outsource their cognitive abilities to AI tools.
That's very important actually. From which class they start learning the AI tools?
Normal exposure is being given from grade 6 onwards. I think from grade 8, we're also offering them AI specific courses to the learning. They're aware about how AI works, what is the bias that comes into the AI, what they need to be careful with. But, they understand about the computing, coding, and everything right from grade 1 onwards. But they actually start using AI only from grade 6 onwards.
Okay. Now my next question is, when a model is completely, digitally intensive, so the resilience becomes extremely important. I mean, with a recent outage, global outage, which took place some time back, that halted all the globe, most of the important airports and major organization. Now, for an, for an company or for a school which is completely fully on digitally active and working on technology, how do you ensure continuity and stability and uninterrupted access, especially when something like this happens, something really unexpected happens?
Yeah, we call it as the rainy days. I mean, just like a physical school would have a rainy day and
Right.
follow the classes, I think we do also have our rainy days. But I think in the last 6 years, it's just been two such days where we had to call off the classes because the servers broke down, or we were not able to support the amount of students or the parents logging into the system where we had crashed. But in the last 2 years, it has never happened because we work with some of the best people, right? Server is with the AWS. Similarly we use the Google cloud platform as well. So, and the stability of these systems is very high. But we also have a dedicated team looking at the cybersecurity issues. There have been attempts to even hack into the systems
Right.
and passwords and other things, but we have a very strong, rigid compliances in terms of the access, password. I mean, all the security features are in place.
Absolutely. That was my next question. In fact, that when you in the the onus of protecting the children's data is enormous, right? Considering you're a
Right. Yeah.
digital school. So how what are the what are the safeguards or the governance practices or cybersecurity practices you follow to ensure privacy for every learner?
Absolutely. I think there are very industry standard encryption that we follow in terms of the students' personal data, video coverage. Like a parent from outside will not be able to access the learning recordings that we share with the parents, the contact numbers, personal data, photos, or any other details that we give them. Again, it's all encrypted. For example, our payment gateways with Access Bank and Razorpay. So I think that they have the industry standard encryption and other practices being followed.
Mhm.
So we've not seen any outrage in terms of the personal data. We've also been following all the guidelines as given by the latest act and the DPDP Act that has been promulgated by the government of India.
Okay.